Welcome to Expedition Hemispheres. Today we're going to be talking about some of the essentials, cook systems. So every time you're out on a backpacking trip or a camping trip, this becomes of utmost importance. So there's a lot of steps and it can become complicated really quickly. If you know and have a good cook system and you're familiar with it, you can simplify all of this. So today we're going to dive into two particular cook systems that I'm really fond of, and we're going to talk about what makes them simple and effective. Okay, so the first system that I want to show you is based around the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. So there is a new version of this stove, the Pocket Rocket 2. Extraordinarily similar, the burner slightly different. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So you can see on this particular stove, you have a disc about the size of a silver dollar. The version 2 is just smaller in diameter. So the only advantage is that it does maybe fractionally better with a smaller cook pot. So if you are solo and you're only doing like a under 750 mil pot or something like that, it can be advantageous. Other than that, I'd say this is honestly the way to go. Puts out a ton of BTUs. The weight and everything on the two versions is about the same. So I have the original, the Deluxe. It's got 3 feet that fold out from the side and create your platform for your pot. There's a little swinging, this is what controls your gas levels. So you'll be able to go up and down with your flame. It also has an ignition lighter built in. So I will say, these have a terrible reputation in the community, and for good reason, because it's something that can go wrong and you're stuck not being able to light your stove. I have never had a problem with this one. It's lit every single time. That said, I always have a mini Bic lighter with me, no matter what, because it'd be kind of hard to start a stove without a spark. From here, screws right onto your gas canister, can go onto the ultra small, this one, which is a medium size, a 230 gram, all the way up to a big, I think it's like, I forget how many grams, 400 something grams. So this is basically your platform and your setup. There are feet that are sold that attach to the bottom of the canister to give you a more stable platform. I don't carry them because I will take a minute or two and just make my surface flat, and it's one less thing I have to carry. Less parts, simplified. Honestly, if you are not able to find a flat place where you can set this, you should probably move where you're cooking and find one, as opposed to carrying feet around all the time and losing them anyway. That's just how I personally feel about it. This pot is also MSR. It's from their Titan line. It's titanium. It's super light. It's kind of hard to imagine how light these are until you actually hold them, but they're very light. Another thing I wanted to mention is the fuel canister will nest inside the pot. One of the things about this system is it's not fully nesting. It's not all encompassing, which some other systems like the Jetboils are. But you can get this consolidated to a pretty nice kit fairly easy. So from here, got a couple fold out handles on here and a lid for our pot. So this particular pot is, let's see, just under 2 liters, so like a 1.75, but I'm normally doing like 16 ounces of water at a time, sometimes more. When I have Matt with me, we can do 2 cups of coffee in here. I normally do for meals like rehydrating meals, I'll normally do 1 at a time. It just keeps my boil times a little bit more reasonable, and it's like right on the cusp of being able to do 2, so I just do 1 at a time. But it just sits right up here. You get your flame started, turn on, it fires up. So the key to this one is it's ultra light, and it's really harder to get more bare bones than this, which is nice for a couple reasons. The number 1 reason is it weighs less. The number 2 reason is there's very few parts. You have a little bag for your actual head unit, the head unit, if you will, the stove portion right here. You have your canister and you have your pot. Boom, there's your cook system. Warm up water in here, you can go up to boiling. The speeds on this are pretty quick. The area of the flame is exposed, so you gotta be a little bit wary with this kind of system of wind, because that's gonna affect the ability to actually get to a boil. Most of the time you're gonna get there no matter what, but it'll take a while if it's super windy. So you either kind of gotta huddle up around it and make a little shelter, or I know I'll probably be taking a little bit of aluminum foil, like very little, so I can just like fold it up into a small square when I've got it all packed up and unfold it, and I can kind of make like a little windscreen. So that's the basics of this stove. I really like it. Boil times are low, ultra light, very few pieces. I really love this guy. So that's pretty much everything for this one. I do want to show you one other though. So the Jetboil MiniMo, inside the lid, which by the way is vented, so it's gonna It's going to allow a little bit of steam to come out so it's not sealed up and you don't end up building pressure. You can also see through the lid, which is helpful, so you don't have to take the lid off to check if things are done. You can see right through, which is actually helpful when you're waiting for a boil. Attached to the lid are the little feet that are going to clamp onto your gas canister, and it kind of gives you a nice real solid platform to set things on. So that'll keep you nice and stable there. On the inside we have the actual stove itself, the burner. It's got a little flip for controlling your fuel, and here we just have a cover. So this cover comes off. It also doubles as a little bowl. It also has some measuring marks on the side, so you can use it as a liquid measurer or just a food dish. From here, I like to go straight onto the canister. So this just screws right on. This stove, just like the Pocket Rocket, has a built-in ignition. Spark. Again, haven't ever had a problem with this, but as always, carry a mini Bic with you. From here, just attach down. You find there's two little dots that line up on the sides. You get those dots lined up and it sinks in, and then you give it a little twist and you're stuck in, okay? So from here, you're just gonna light your stove, boil. You got fold-out handles. I will say one thing about these handles that are nice is the coating. So these oftentimes will get really hot, flames close enough, but these stay nice and cool so you can come in and pick up without burning your fingers. Easy to forget, by the way, watch out for that. It also has a neoprene jacket around the pot. That's gonna keep everything a little bit warmer. It's gonna help the efficiency of the boil. Right off the top, there's a little bit of rib material in here that helps conduct the heat into the pot. Very efficient. It's also kind of doubling as a windscreen. So you get no wind interfering with the flame hitting the pot, and that's really helpful. You're never gonna have, it has to be really, really like gale-forced winds for this to not just be ready to rock. Hit the go, turn the gas on. It's hitting the pot. It's not going anywhere else. That's really nice. The only drawback really in a Jetboil system is it is substantially heavier. It's more than twice the weight of the Pocket Rocket. A lot of that stuff comes from a lot of the nice features. So these are things that you kind of have to weigh and see how you feel about them. The bag weighs, the rubber coating weighs, all of the ribbing and the wind blocking equipment is weight. So that's really the only drawback. Other than that, it's a really nice system, works really well, ultra reliable. A lot of people swear by these. Even there's a good amount of ultralighters that will take the extra weight for some of the deluxe features on there. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the Jetboil MiniMo. Really nice stove. Next thing that I want to do is get both of these stoves side by side so we can kind of see them together and rehash a few of the pros and cons as they compare to each other. And I'll talk to you about my personal choice that I take with me everywhere. And let's get the other one out. So we got both systems side to side. You can see they're about the same stature, about the same height, about the same width. Everything's really similar. I already talked about the main features of each and what each of them has going on. But the one thing that I did want to point out now that we have them next to each other is how exposed the burner is on the MSR. So windy conditions, that's going to make your boil time go up and could potentially be slightly annoying. So that's the only thing I would really think about there. Definitely overcomeable. If you're out backpacking, you could probably figure out how to shield your stove from wind fairly easily, but it is something to keep in mind. I recently did a test indoors under perfect conditions and got a lot of really interesting information. I just wanted to cover that with you real quick. It definitely pushed me in a direction of which stove that I'm going to be using all the time. All right, so the information on the test results that I did inside under perfect conditions. So there was 0 wind. I was boiling 16 fluid ounces of water, and the final temp that I took them both to was exactly 207 degrees, which is ideal for rehydrating meals and hot drinks by a good margin. First up, we'll go with the MiniMo. So the boil time on the MiniMo under 16 ounces was 1:41, really fast. Fuel consumption was 24 grams. So it actually goes through a fair amount of fuel. The reason it can boil so fast is you can really crank the heat on these using, since it's shielded and has like a built-in heat conduction system, you can really get the fuel going and get that boil time really fast. I did the math, and on a 230 gram container, which is what you're looking at here, you can get about 9 meals per canister, if assuming you're doing the 16 fluid ounces of water per meal. That's going to vary slightly, but it gives you a ballpark of what you're dealing with. Over here with the MSR, we are looking at a 2 minute and 15 second boil time. So what is that, about 30 seconds or so longer, but it's only using 11 grams of fuel, so less than half the amount. The 230 gram canister is gonna give you about 15 meals. So 15 meals compared to 9 meals, quite a bit more. These numbers are gonna go down under windy conditions, but I have a feeling they're still gonna be really solid, and especially since you have the options of shielding this any way you want to. I personally am going with the Pocket Rocket when I go on my next trip. The reason being is the simplicity, less parts, it's way lighter, and it boils very efficiently. I definitely enjoy this. I think I would take this on a more lax trip where maybe I'm covering less mileage and maybe I'm base camping and day hiking from there. It's deluxe, it's really nice. You got like all the features I talked about are kind of nice to have around. But when you're on the move and you're really just needing to get food in as fast as you can, keep things simple, keep things extra light, the MSR is definitely the way to go. All right guys, that pretty much wraps up everything with the cook systems. Probably gives you a really good general knowledge of what's going on here between the two different kinds of cook systems. There's a lot of different ones out there that are very similar to these, so there's definitely some pretty good options. These are just the two that I happen to have and really enjoy. As always, if you like the content today, give us a like or subscribe. Feel free to leave comments if you've used other cook systems. If you have things about these that you know or have had trouble with or really enjoyed that I didn't mention, put it in there. We really appreciate it. Also, down in the description, we're going to have links to both of these products. And as always, guys, keep adventuring.